IVO of VEGA, How Consciousness Works. How do we influence each other through the collective unconscious? Me, IVO, in our last video you said, you have so much power, and were you unified in consciousness, your people would be able to overcome the problems that are created for you by the DS right now. If you were of one consciousness, all would shop the same and all would become averse to the toxified laboratory products that are on your shelves. Purchase of them would stop and the focus would be on healthy foods, not GMO foods, and not modified factory products. But you are not all of one consciousness. And it takes quite a while for more and more people to understand the advantage of eating organic food. Your influence on others' consciousnesses has been slow in coming. Hence the power of the divide and conquer agenda the dark ones use on us. That's why they do it, because if we were of unified consciousness, we'd be so powerful they wouldn't be able to touch us. We'd bring them and their programs down to the ground so fast they wouldn't know what hit them. The only way they can rule us is to divide us and keep us fighting with each other. That's why you see so many differing opinions about what's good and what is the right thing to do. Because of divide and conquer. Why do you think IVO can come here and speak for all the benevolent ETS the way he does? Because they're all united in the truth. They figured it out. We haven't. This is what's going on right now. This world is being modified in order that people wake up faster, and this waking up has to do with unifying our thinking and collective consciousness. You see people breaking up into levels of awakeness and starting to group and hang out in like-minded groups with the same ideology. IVO, and I am here, my love. Me, yes. You're my group. I will explain the story of the 100th monkey for those who haven't heard it. But humanity works the same. We are all of one consciousness that now is dividing into levels contingent on individual perception of the truth or acceptance of lies. Some scientists decided to test some monkeys on a beach on an island. They threw a bunch of potatoes on the shore and watched. These potatoes all had their peels on them still. What the monkeys did was eat them. After a while, one monkey started to peel his potato against the bark of a tree and found it tasted better. Another monkey copied him, then another and another. They preferred the raw potatoes peeled rather than with peels on. The scientists saw after a while that all the monkeys did as the first one did, they peeled their potatoes. The scientists moved on to another island, and threw the potatoes onto the sand. The local monkeys ran out to get the food, but this time before they ate them they peeled the potatoes against the bark of a tree. That is how the collective unconscious works. IVO, can we look at the habit of cigarette smoking here on Earth? IVO, we can use that in an example. Back in your 1950s, everyone smoked. It was quite normal to smoke cigarettes, whether a woman was pregnant or whether a man was seeking to impregnate a woman. Everyone smoked. It was considered normal. Back in the 1970s, it came out to the public that cigarette smoking could cause lung cancer. So some people quit smoking. Smoking was relatively inexpensive back then, it was not so heavily taxed and was still socially acceptable. Me, yes, I know. It was nothing to have some dragon blow a wad of smoke in your face and not even apologize for it. People smoked around their children and they smoked on public transportation, everywhere. It was disgusting. I smoked myself but quit in 1987. IVO, yes, and the reason you quit, my love, was because you reached the level of consciousness that aligned with the others who had quit smoking cigarettes. You were at that level of consciousness. You see now that not as many people smoke cigarettes. Why is this? Because the general level of consciousness of the people of Earth has arisen, but specifically around cigarette smoking as part of that. Me, interesting. It was nothing when we were teenagers to start experimenting with cigarettes, but I assume now teenagers don't bother. IVO, correct. Drug experimentation, however, has increased. Me, there were a lot of people who did drugs when I was young. IVO, drugs have become more affordable while cigarettes have gone up in price. Let us stay on the subject of cigarette smoking. Only those of lower frequency smoke cigarettes. Once you arise to the frequency level enjoyed by non-smokers, you are inclined to want to quit. Me, somehow that doesn't sound right. IVO, nonetheless my love, it is true. Me, what about drinking? So many people drink and really that should be stopped as well. Does that mean that a drug-addicted drinker is of higher frequency than a cigarette smoker? IVO, no, it does not. What I am referring to refers only to the subject of cigarette smoking. Me, oh, okay, that makes sense. IVO, the DS will give you one or two favors, understanding they can addict you with other programs that they wish the collective to partake in. For example, they responded to the rise in frequency in cigarette smoking with more convenient and cheaper types of drugs. Me, so one's frequency is basically an average of everything they think. IVO, you can resonate on different frequencies depending on how much truth you hold in that area of the unconscious. You are aware, my love, that when you focus upon an area where you are still of low frequency, you will drop down in frequency. Someone can be very astute with their knowledge on subject A but their practice of subject B can be of much lower frequency. Me, so really we live on a continuum. IVO, you do. It is a question of bringing light to all areas of your life, as your higher self is attempting to do with you. Me, so no more ice cream. Summer's coming. IVO, it is up to you, my love. You have gone through many summers and eaten no ice cream. Me, I have. IVO, you must get away from the idea that people are very spiritual or not very spiritual, because some people can be very advanced in some areas and very unenlightened in others. In your case, because you are a master, there are many areas in which you are already advanced and are not in need of educating yourself or raising your frequency in. So you came to Earth to learn more about the negative polarity and you learned to understand it and are learning how to transcend it. This is why so many lifetimes are necessary for the soul. Me, okay. IVO, it is possible that your frequency will generally vibrate around a certain level, though. Depending on how much work you have done. Now, how the collective works is in largely the same way. Those of you who are more advanced comprise the upper frequency levels pertaining to a certain subject, such as cigarette smoking. Those who still smoke obviously comprise the lower levels. Your influence is always coming to bear upon these smokers, however. And that is why I said what I said in the other video about organic eating. Years ago, some people began eating organically, and throughout the years as the collective frequency has arisen in general and then specifically with regard to more healthful eating habits, more people have assumed the same habit, and that was because they could now that their frequency was high enough. When your frequency is still lower, you will entertain the older, lower frequency habits. This is particularly so in instances of food, smoking, alcohol, and drugs because these affect the physical body. Me, doesn't everything affect the physical body? IVO, yes. But these are especially toxic. Me, okay, I get it. IVO, the point is, my love, that those in the collective who have quit smoking cigarettes enjoy a higher frequency around that issue, others who still smoke suffer a lower frequency. Each of them can influence the other. In the same way that the person who has quit still feels the urge to smoke at times, for example. When the collective frequency is high enough, many more will stop smoking. Many more will stop doing drugs, many more will begin eating organic foods. It is a question of increasing the vibration of the entire collective, which is what is happening now. So you will see a quickening of healthier habits and more virtuous thinking. If all were at the same high level of consciousness regarding cigarette smoking, that industry would see its demise. This is what is to occur on your planet as the vibrational frequency of all continues to rise. As consciousness arises, there is more stress put upon health for the body as the two are very interrelated. Me, that makes sense. So that's why people switch addictions, isn't it? Maybe by quitting drinking or something they have raised their vibration somewhat, but not enough to realize the donuts and coffee they keep eating are dangerous for them, but in a different way. IVO, correct. And your health industry keeps the truth of your frequency from you. Raise your frequency. Enlighten yourselves by finding doctors who tell the truth and give high frequency advice, and you will vibrate at a higher frequency, enough to break the habit. Why do you think your diet industry is full of books that lie to you? Everyone is writing their best advice from their own vibrational perspective, for one thing. And other books are written to impart disinformation and to keep your frequency down, to keep you stuck, and to keep the food industry alive, making money, and continuing to toxify you. Me, I don't believe anyone who says to go to a mainstream doctor. I went to a doctor a couple years ago that said I have a skin rash and he prescribed some cream. Now Dr. Berg on YouTube says that that rash is whatever the name of it was, and it indicates a liver problem, which I know I have. I kept looking for creams to stop the itching, but a stem of aloe vera that I got for $1.50 at the store stops the itching and is healing the rash. So there you go. Go natural. I expect when I reach the highest level of information on these liver and hormonal issues I have, I'll find a doctor or someone who has higher information yet. I looked at the medical medium, who channels information, but I couldn't do his detox for more than a month because I was so depressed and emotionally aggravated by doing it, I had to stop. I prefer foot bath detox. IVO, yes. Liver stores the anger. So, to sum it up, if all of the people on earth were of high frequency around a particular subject, such as smoking, then nobody would smoke and society would have to change. It already has. Now, to make things even more unpleasant for those still addicted, they must stand outside in -20-degree Canadian winters to have a cigarette. They are now treated like lepers when it was the system that got them addicted in the first place. Yes, the Matrix promotes normality and your current normal is toxic. The Matrix also promotes repression of emotions, which they realize will lead to addiction in order to do so. It is the Matrix that is to blame. However, to get out of that conundrum, you must each practice personal responsibility. There is no other way but to re-empower yourselves again. Me, so that's how the collective works. When enough people are insisting on using cleaner fossil fuels, or cleaner fuels, then we'll see that change. Right now everyone has power because they have spending power, but I don't think they consciously practice that. If more people boycotted that which they know to be toxic for them, they would see a change to society. IVO, this day will come, my love. The internet connects so many people who never would have known of each other before, and so this is your power coming to fruition. With future emphasis on free speech, transparency and ethical business practices, more people like yourself will have their say and be heard. Me, yes. Good times. Thank you, IVO. IVO, my love, we too went through all of this before. All of it? That is why it is so easy to guide you. You have undergone all these issues at some time in your past and you have overcome them. So have the rest of you who are watching this video. That is why you are here, helping Earth now, because you are experienced.